Right, enough. Silliness. Very, very silly indeed. We won't be having any of that this week. No silliness. None at all. Just questions and answers, really. Here's what you do. Put a large capital Q, not 2 Qs, not 3 Qs, not umpteen dozen Qs, one single Q of the capital uppercase nature. Follow that with a colon, then a space, then write your question in full. Use words. Don't use TLAs or PITAFFS. Suffix that with a question mark. That way His Royal Highness Ted, King of the Bears, Prince of Pumbatia, first of his name, all of that, will be able to find it more easily and bring it up upon the screen for all of our question answering pleasure, really. Other than that, Ted will be fully occupied, I guess, with the knob twiddling, won't you, Ted?
Yes, I shall be twiddling the knobs.
Right, well, you go down there and twiddle the knobs. There's a good boy. Good boy. We do love it when our knobs are twiddled. It's one of our favourite things, frankly. Right, so let's see who's in the house before we kick off with questions. Jimmy's in the house. Good to see you. Rick was second. Rick, that's not good enough. I expect you here first. Goodness gracious. Jonathan, third. Still, it's late. It's late where you are, which is good. UA Mix. That's a new one on me. Don't think I've seen you before. Welcome if this is your first ride on the crazy train. Field Marshal DC of the Meat Militia is AWOL, as usual. Goodness sake. You can't get the help, you know. Ben can't stay. Well, that's a pretty poor excuse, isn't it? Trace is in the house. Good to see you, Trace. How are you, mate? Juliet's here. We love us some Juliet up in here. Still. Nothing you can do about it. Still. Gritty Image Photography's here. New member, Holly Ruth. Welcome to the Meat Militia. Welcome. What else is happening in the house? David's here. Sunshine is here. Good, good, good. Bev's here. Bruce is here. Bacon Runner. Fully laden swallow of the European kind. Josephine is here. Right, so that's us all up to date, really. I can't even think to how to pronounce that. Get along home. Get along home. There you go. Get along home is here. Well, good, good. Well, you did now. Welcome, Get Along Home, to the live stream. Doodle Bob, Dean's here, and a whole bunch of other bigots are rolling in as well. Look, anyone that rolls in late, Ted, could you just take their name down, please?
Yes, I shall take names down, and you can meet me down the back after class, right next to that bucket of soapy frogs.
Yes, well, you go and twiddle the knobs. Good boy. I can't do a thing with Ted, frankly. I keep telling him to tone it down, but he won't listen. If you want to see some of the things that Ted's up to on the X platform, you need to go over there to the X platform. Not right now, obviously, because he's here and I'm here, and anyway, X HRH_Ted. That's where you find Ted on the X platform, and he's over there basically telling everybody that they should all go to next Tuesday or something, or that he'll see them next Tuesday or whatever. He also says intelligent things too, but he hides that in amongst his vitriol and stuff. He's worse than I am. He really is. I can't do a thing with him. And folks over there, for goodness sake, respect Ted's identity. Ted is not me. I am not Ted. Ted is his own man, his own bear. He's his own bear. He does his own thing. He's nothing to do with me. Goodness sake. All right. Good. First question. Thank you, Jonathan. Somebody had to start getting the ball rolling. Oh, by the way, I haven't done questions and answers for a few weeks for several reasons. One, it's the same questions every week. Pretty much. Now, that's cool if there's a bunch of new people coming in. There aren't. So, this week, what I'm hoping for is a bunch of new questions that we haven't had before. That'd be awesome. Secondly, it all seems that you've forgotten how to super chat. I'm not here for the good of my health. Well, I am. And yours as well. But nonetheless, this is my job. And if you want me to be paid commensurate, super chat's one way, but an even better way is to join my Patreon, which you can do at the link which is winding its way across the bottom of the screen as we speak. Throughout the show, that'll be there. It's quite simple, bit.ly/Bart-KAY. All things Bart can be reached from there. You can join my Patreon at the $10 a month US Seekers of Knowledge level, which will get you access to my brand new course, the first video of which will go up later on. We did the intro last week, which was public just to whet everybody's appetite, but the actual course, available only to Patreon members, that'll be posted later on. So look forward to that. You can also join at a higher tier if you want to speak to me face-to-face twice a month on Zoom for an hour at a time to talk about whatever the hell you want to, really. It's your coin. What else? You can go to the merchandise store and, maybe I can make more than $15 a month on one t-shirt that gets sold every month or something. That'll be awesome. What else can you do? You can get yourself organised into getting the adult stem cell nutrition, the cereal products, which are exactly what they say they are. They do exactly what they say on the tin. And exciting news for those of you in the European and or UK marketplaces. Stem Enhance Hardcore Carnivore formulation, first proposed and invented, if you like, by yours truly, this bad ball man. The active ingredient, the same as in the standard product. I didn't invent that. I'm not claiming credit for that. This formulation is my idea. We've taken everything that's from a plant out of the standard formulation so that it's carnivore, 100% carnivore friendly. That will be available in the UK and the European marketplaces, I'm told, by the end of the month or so, possibly the first week of December. That's what I'm told. So that is exciting news if you're interested in that. That said, let's answer Jonathan's question. Have you looked into peptides besides BPC-157? No, I haven't, really. That's the one that does the thing that I'm looking for at this stage. I haven't really looked into anything else. There's been some outstanding revelations, including things like MOTS-C. Seen too many positive anecdotes to mention. Okay, I'll look into it, Jonathan. Thanks for that. No, I haven't looked into that personally at this stage at all. Good morning, Murray. Nice to see you. De Ruyter's here. Good to see you. Ari's here. Nice. Lubis says, I am 6 years ketovore. Very low carbs. Lately, about a year, I see morning blood sugar 105 to 115 and ketones are not extant, i.e. 0.4 to 0.5. That's completely, absolutely normal, and that's actually what we would expect, Luba. There is no pathology going on there, neither is there any evidence of any pathology from the information you've given us there. A person who consumes such a diet is very likely to express slightly higher fasting blood glucose than a person who eats a standard junk diet, basically, or the Western diet. There is no evidence that running at 105 to 115, especially in the morning, is at all problematic anywhere in the literature. A person who eats a standard diet whose A1Cs are up around 6, well, that indicates a problem because those people have blood sugar that goes wee, woo, wee, woo. That's literally the sound it makes too. I'm not making things up. I never do. And the problem is not the woo or the average wah. It's the wee. That's the problem. Carnivore and very low carbohydrate people don't have those spikes. Ergo, there's no problem. So I hope that puts your mind to rest. And also, who gives a rat's about your ketones? The goal of a ketogenic diet, believe it or not, is actually not to be in ketosis all the time, or even a significant period of the time, proportion of the time, I should say. Okay, it's very badly named. It's very badly taught. There's a bunch of theologians running around saying the ketogenic diet is inherently good because of the ketones per se, which is absolute nonsense. And the goal is to be in ketosis to the highest level possible all the time, which is also absolute nonsense and contraindicated, dangerous and stupid, actually, in the extreme, I think, based on my understandings of physiology and stuff, which I don't know. What do I know? Quite a bit, what I know. Yeah, so don't worry about that either. That's fine. And also, a ketone test, either a blood or urine ketone test, is very, very unlikely to actually give you an accurate assessment of what your body genuinely is doing in terms of ketogenesis, because it may well be that the ketones being produced are indeed being oxidized in the Krebs, TCA, or tricarboxylic acid cycle, in which case they won't show up on the test. But that doesn't mean they weren't generated, because they still were. Okay, all right, there we go. G'day, Alicia and John. Alicia and John. Good. Questions. How do you know the range of meat consumption based on stable isotope analysis? Well, that's the answer to the question, based on stable isotope analysis. Doesn't it mostly just show how high up in the food chain an animal was? Yes. It's the same thing. Sorry if this was a stupid question. Well, that's okay. There are no stupid questions. Well, some questions are better than other questions. Yes, the stable isotope testing tells us how much protein that animal ate that was other animals versus how much of the protein that animal ate that came from plants. That's what it does. And yes, it also gives us, therefore, a clear indication of the trophic level of that animal. Cool. Thanks for the question. Another question from Jonathan. We always love us some Jonathan up in here. Why might blood ketones increase in response to acute heat exposure, circa 80 degrees C, sauna, etc.? Well, don't really know, Jonathan. Off the top of my head. Maybe there's something about that condition that causes the blood sugar to be suddenly drained in some way, which would lead ketogenesis to kick in, perhaps. Maybe there's some other physiological reason that it's protective under, a heat stress. Have you got some numbers on this? Is this something that's been observed? Is it something that's a known phenomenon, or is it just you saw that in yourself and you wondered thing? Don't know. Right. Question. If the Randall cycle prevents the intake of glucose as a natural response to avoid sugar-termed IR, what do you mean sugar-termed IR? Then how does external insulin force this into the cells for diabetics? If you mean type 1 diabetics, then the exogenous insulin, as injected, causes the sugar to be uptaken by the cells because those cells are not already stuffed full of sugar. It's a different situation. The Randall cycle comes into effect when cells are replete with sufficient energetic substrate, i.e. fats and carbohydrates, such that they need no further input at this time, and the intake of sugar from the bloodstream according to its concentration gradient would be likely to be damaging to the cells on the basis that glycation damage is a very serious problem. Then, obviously, the cells that are full of energy need no more and certainly don't want any more glucose in them, will simply lock the doors from the inside, meaning that the insulin cannot force the sugar in, which is the thing that is fallaciously referred to as insulin resistance and deemed to be some kind of pathology in need of normalization or needing fixing. No, it's a normal part of the physiological parameters of a human being, and a bunch of other animals too, by the way. It's indicated, it's utilitarian, it protects the cells from damage. It's encoded for by the very genes. It's supposed to happen. It's not a pathology, and it's not the underlying cause of any pathology either. The pathology that we're talking about being elevated blood glucose and nothing else. That's what diabetes is. The reasons why a person's blood glucose may be elevated can differ from type 1 to type 2 to type 3 diabetes, absolutely. But nonetheless, the pathology is the glucose. The thing that needs fixing and ameliorating is the glucose in the bloodstream. And the way to do that most effectively, and to place the human body in a position where it will maintain a stable blood glucose, which is what we want stable, is to remove the carbohydrates from the diet. Still. Okay, good. I'm glad we covered that one off. If eating keto carnivore for several weeks, then had a lot of. Okay. Yes. Righto then. Jeffrey has a question. I understand that they use carbon dating to determine the age of the bone. Yes. But how do they measure how old the organism was when it died? Clues about the age of a given organism when it died are based on things that can be seen around the bones themselves, i.e. simple things like, are the plates fused? Is it full adult length? What is the density of that bone, etc.? So there we go. Also, surprisingly, you can tell the gender of a human skeleton if the pelvis is intact by looking at the pelvis, because there are clear biological differences between the two and only two genders that are expressed to all intents and purposes by human beings. Sure, hermaphrodites do exist, born as such, but they're pretty rare. Nonetheless, that's an interesting thing, isn't it? There we go. Hate speech from me. Right, you finally made it to a live, Rodney. Good for you. Good for you. I finally made it to one too, after several weeks of not doing them. Okie dokie. Can you please explain the main dangers of seed oils, and how are you so sure that it's the worst decision ever done by humans to include them? Well, it is associative in terms of population health statistics. Absolutely, it's associative, and as such we can't determine there's a causal linkage here, but there is a temporal association between the most serious downturn in health of the population at large, consistent with and coincident with the time frame at which people were being told to avoid all that nasty saturated fat and animal fat, and instead take all this nice, healthy seed oils in, these ones with the Heart Foundation tick on them, that kind of thing. Okay. Mechanistic speculation-wise, the main risks of such seed oils are a large amount of polyphenols, which can cause very serious problems. These are plant-based substances that the plants include in their makeup to discourage animals from eating them. Mostly insects, and mostly it's the toxins are there to kill off insects pretty quickly, which effectively the plants that have good ones do achieve. These are not toxins that will kill a human stone dead or even quickly, but nonetheless they will cause problems for the health span and for the lifespan. I would bet my bottom dollar on that without being able to prove that, because there are no experiments. Seed oils are also, I guess you'd say that the unsaturated fatty acids are prone to oxidation and can produce very, very dangerous both primary and secondary oxidation products, including aldehydes, for example. So that's never a good thing, I think. And it seems like both mono and polyunsaturated fatty acids have, those from plants anyway, so whether it's their makeup or whether it's something to do with the plant, things that make it into those oils, but they have been associated with an uptick in the activity of both LOX and COX inflammatory pathways. In the case of monounsaturates, there's kind of one of them is upregulated and one of them is downregulated, so it's kind of like, maybe that's an even thing. In the case of polyunsaturates, both of them are activated upwards, so it seems that there's some indication that they may well be pro-inflammatory as well. And we know that inflammation is not a good thing. Thank you very much for the Swedish kronor. We do like us some Swedish kronor up in here. They are very, very good. Better than the Pacific pesos that we have down here. Right. Righto. Juliet, wherefore art thou, Juliet? but soft, what light through yonder thingy-bingy. Right, good. I don't have a lot to spare at the moment. No, nobody does. But I appreciate it, and we love you, Juliet, very much. There's nothing you can do about that. But here's a super chat. Appreciate that very much. Also, I did join your Patreon. Yes, I saw that. Very nice to see you there too. And as I say, the first of the new course on how to read literature and poke holes in literature, that will be going up later on when I've finished recording and editing and making sure it says all the right things and don't say any of the wrong things. I'm ferreting away in the background, studiously, well, as studiously as I can, because I also have to run a farm, do my consultancies, and spend some time with folks helping them on marketing the Cerule products. Even though they tend to market themselves a bit, we still have to give it a nudge now and then, don't we? So everybody go and buy Cerule, because, well, you need to increase your body's resources of circulating adult stem cells. Slam dunk. You need to reduce your inflammation. Slam dunk. And you need to discourage things that block up your microvasculature and stop circulation being ideal. Those three products over my left shoulder that you can see right now, those little white bottles with a green, a blue and a red label, those of you that are viewing in colour and can see colour, that's where you get those effects from, nutraceutically, without the problems of pharmacological nonsense. Question from Rubber Band, twang, twang, twang. What is causing even more sensitivity after starting carnivore? If you changed your diet suddenly overnight, hammered over and decided you're going carnivore today, that can mess you up for months. Actually, that's a very bad idea. You shouldn't do that. When you change your diet from anything to anything else, you should do it gradually, slowly, glacially over at least 3 or 4 weeks, not over 3 or 4 minutes. Okay? Number 2, your body tends to reset back to its genetic set point and enjoy really quite rude good health on a properly constructed carnivore diet and lifestyle. And it's not necessarily that you're more sensitive. It's just that you actually are much better than you ever have been in the past. And so when things are not ideal, you notice much more. Because you've spent your whole life up to this point basically unwell, and that was normal, and so you didn't even really think about that or whatever. That's my take on it anyway. Just ask your question once though, thanks Rubber Band, not several times. Just once will be fine, and it'll either get answered or it won't. Hello Stephen, how are you, mate? Good to see you, very good to see you indeed. It's quite late where you are. That's commitment. Better than that Field Marshal DC. Goodness gracious, he's AWOL again. Off doing other things. Love you, Dave. Nothing you can do about it. All right. Question from Lorraine. Don't forget to put a large capital Q in front of your questions and a colon, and that makes it easier for Ted to find the questions and bring them up for us. Thanks, Ted. Can statins be stopped immediately, or do you have to be weaned off them, please? I would drop the statins on the spot. Absolutely on the spot. I wouldn't touch a statin. I wouldn't take one single dose of statins ever. And if you ever have, my personal opinion is you should stop that sooner than yesterday. Gritty image. Question. Does the body become sensitive to sugars and additives after eating keto or carnivore? After eating marinades this week, I have woken up puffy and in pain. Yes. Yep, that can happen. Sluggish all day, suffered. Yeah. Very common story. I've heard that many, many times. Yes, when you go clean and your body readjusts to being clean, it feels like you will react more strongly to things that you didn't even think you were reacting to beforehand. I think I covered it earlier in the question a few questions ago as to what I think's going on there. Okay, that's the third time, Rubber Band, that your question's there. Don't ask your question more than once, thanks, please. Goodness sake. Right. Laura, maybe a silly question. Why does blood glucose increase during exercise or digestion of high-protein meal? Well, because some of the amino acids are gluconeogenic, among other things. I'm thinking of carbs eaters who would say, see, the body prefers glucose. Well, how would those two things follow, one from the other? That would seem to show a complete lack of logical progression. Doesn't make any sense. Okay, question. Is nicotine alone, in isolation, in very small doses, potentially beneficial to Alzheimer's disease? I don't know the answer to that. I had a look at some studies. Oh, there you go. You looked at some studies that tried to control a few things, but they were far from perfect. Oh, good. Well, you're already on the track of understanding how to poke holes in studies. Perhaps you should join my Patreon if you haven't already, Mark, so that you get access to my course, so that we can all be on the same page as regards to laughing uproariously at folks who tell us studies show, and look, here's a study that proves X, Y, or Z. Ah, good evening. Good evening, Sabine. I hope things are well over there in the communist state of Germany. Bulla from Fiji. And Bulla to you too, red-pilled. Is the weather as good in Fiji as it is in the Tasman district of New Zealand today? Goodness gracious, it's another beautiful day. Had a great day yesterday, weather-wise. Played a game of third grade 40 overs aside cricket, which is probably quite a good achievement at my young age of 54, nearly. Yeah, we batted first, and in 40 overs we put on 293. It was awesome. I contributed all of 9. Played a very, very bad shot. Happens. Anyway, the other team got them because we bowled even worse and fielded not so... Well, that's third grade cricket for you, I suppose. Anyway, well done the other team, which is also... They represent the same club as we do. We have 3 teams in the same grade. Anyway, well done to the Sibs, beating the Jarves yesterday. In an all-Tigers home derby. Great game of cricket. Played in great spirit, almost entirely. Bit of sledging, as you do, into club, you know how it is. But anyway, that was my day yesterday. Lots of sunshine. A great feed, a great spread was put on at half-time, of which I was unable to partake in much of it, because, for obvious reasons, you know, standard fare. But there were some awesome crayfish balls put together and fried up on the spot by one of the dads who is going to play for our club, whether he likes it or not. Rudy, you're going to play for us. They were awesome. Very, very nice crayfish tail balls they were. Anyway, let's move on with today. Never mind yesterday. Lorraine, same thing about asking a question more than once. Don't do that, please. All right, question. Been carnivore 2.5 years. Good. My glucose is never below 100. I think we've covered this one off. This is normal. This is expected. This is not a pathology. This is nothing to worry about. This is exactly the pattern we expect. Okay? No problem. Good. Let's hear Jonathan's theory. Jonathan has a theory about blood ketone increase. That was the heat forces ketones into the periphery of the body. Well, why, Jonathan? Why would they? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, why would they? I got gifted a ketone meter. Okay, there you go. So you've been taking your ketones. Good. All right, nice. Okay, and it's repeatable. So therefore, it's something that's going on at least in your body. It may well be that the increase in circulation to the periphery, coincident with a heat exposure, may well cause things like increased lymph flow, increased blood flow and such, and thus flush a bunch of ketones around that were maybe held in a pool in the lymph or somewhere that wasn't showing up on the meter that therefore does. That would be feasible. That sounds fine. Let's go with that. Maybe we should do an experiment to test it. Right, should there be a universal dietary guideline besides a human species-specific diet, given that the American guidelines is just about to be released, which many countries adapt? No. The government of any country whatsoever has exactly zero business telling its citizens what they should or should not eat, or being involved in any such aspect of life in any way, shape or form. The role of central government is protecting the personal and property rights of its citizens, protecting its borders from invading forces and or invading animal species that ought not be there. That is it. Maybe some basic infrastructure depending on your particular political views, but this whole getting involved in education, getting involved in health in any way, shape or form, getting involved in any of that stuff, the government has no business whatsoever in those fields. It should get its ass out of that completely. And yes, I'm giving myself away. I'm a libertarian. Always have been, always will be. Right. What is your opinion on the raw meat diet? Hey, if that's what gets you through the night, baby, all good. If that's what you want to do, all good with me. I have no problem with people eating raw meat if they want to. There's also no reason they should, and there's no benefit in so doing that I'm aware of whatsoever, or that can be justified in any way, shape or form. It's a valid option, but it certainly is not a requirement. Humans and our immediate ancestors before we became fully humans have, it seems, been cooking our food over fires for the best part of 1 million years. Okay, so we are absolutely adapted to that. In what situation is acute inflammation desirable and adequate? Well, in the case of physical injury or trauma and or pathogenic invasion. Does Psyactive interfere with such a process? Yes. Would have to be the straightforward answer. Yes, it does, because it knocks down LOX and COX pathways, the two most common ones. The reason that a person should take Psyactive on a daily basis, all else being fine and dandy, is to deal with the chronic inflammatory inputs that most people in Western life are subjected to on a day-by-day basis. If you have a serious injury or a serious infection problem, you may consider not taking Psyactive those days until you get past that and the acute indicated inflammation has done its job. You would probably take advice on that from someone who understands such things like myself, which you can do by getting yourself registered as a Patreon member at the discussion tier levels. There's 3 of them there. There's a 100, a 200 and a 500 a month option. It's the same product, by the way. You get to talk to me for an hour or so on Zoom twice a month. The price breaks are based on subscriptions. I have X number at the base price, X number at the next price, and X number at the top price. After which my calendar is completely full and there's no price that can buy me. Okay? That's just how it works. That's the reality. Nonetheless, even at my highest price tier, I'm still half the price of Dr. Paul Salad I Don't Know. And anyone that would take Paul Salad I Don't Know's advice over mine, well, they would deserve what they get then, wouldn't they? Speaking of Paul Salad I Don't Know, did we all hear that there was a debate apparently lined up between one Lame Norton and one Paul Salad I Don't Know? That didn't happen because one Lame Norton ran away with shit in his pants. Pathetic. Here was Lame Norton's excuse for not showing up. He said, and I quote, "Paul is a twig." Well, that's a good reason not to debate him. I'll debate you, Paul, any day you like and twice on Sundays. I'll also debate you too, Lame Norton, any day you like and 3 times on Sundays. Whereupon either one of you that wants to come and debate me will end up with 7 new assholes. Because neither one of you is a patch on being a scientist. Neither one of you is a scientist's asshole. Neither one of you is competent to speak about science. For goodness sake, Lame Norton can't even correctly state the first law of thermodynamics, let alone apply it correctly. So there's that. Question. Thanks for the response. Do you see how that's not a question? For type 2 diabetics, they have to take insulin due to insulin resistance. No, they don't. That's false. That's bad advice. No such thing is required, in fact. What they need to do is remove the carbohydrates from their diet. Simple as that, really. Does the external insulin force the sugars to be metabolized? Only insofar as it forces because of the increase in insulin concentration, it will force glucose in up to the point where the Randall cycle kicks in to its fullest extent and blocks that pathway off. So you still can't actually overcome it. And neither should you, because the body's doing exactly what it ought to do. Same questions, so I thought I'd break it up a bit. Thanks, Jonathan, and I appreciate the $2 squids too very much. Thank you. Nina's here. Very good. Very good. I did send you a link. Did I send you the right link? I'm sure I did. Nin, if you wanted to come on and answer some questions and be a co-host for a bit, you are more than welcome to jump in and show us your lovely face, really. Let me know if you've got problems about getting into the studio, that is, of course. All right, don't forget the Q in front of your question, Andrew. Capital Q, colon, then the question, and it needs to be suffixed with a question mark, which this isn't. So strictly speaking, Ted would say, don't answer that one, but we'll let you off, because we're nice. Can linoleic acid be a problem in carnivore due to grain-fed and non-ruminants? Perhaps. It's very unlikely to be a major problem, though. I mean, if a person eats an appropriate diet for a human being, even based on grain-fed, grain-finished meats, that's still vastly superior to any other diet, it would seem. If so, how does that compare to other diets? I think I just covered that. Given the statement about seed oils, I would infer they are worse than fructose. No, not worse than fructose. No, fructose is the worst carbohydrate you can possibly take in your diet. Fructose, very, very bad idea indeed because of its effect on hepatic ATP concentration and the potential for non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and a bunch of other things, secondary or sequelae related, if you like, to the ATP draw concentration, like, for example, a vast build-up in urate/uric acid, perhaps. Great. Question. Your thoughts on why medical communities don't talk about the damaging model of carbs? Well, money. They're bought and paid for. Instead, talk around with proxy markers. Well, there you go. See? Proxy markers, poxy markers. For example, excessive carbs are factors in fatty liver. Specifically, mostly fructose, as I said. Okay, question. What do you think of green tea as a way to reduce iron in the blood? I crash when bloodletting. Well, why are you bloodletting? Why do you think you need to reduce the iron in your blood? On what basis? And yeah, green tea can block iron absorption, but it might also cause a bunch of other problems too, depending, case by case. Okay, $10 from Fully Laden Swallow. Thank you very much. You saw seed what? You saw seed oils are processed. Good. It would turn your stomach. Okay, I'll just take your word for all of that. Whatever those words mean. I'm confused. I wish I wasn't so easily confused. What is the reason for you not advocating for raw meat consumption despite raw meat having significantly more water-soluble vitamins, a lack of carcinogens compared to cooked meat, etc.? Because, James, there is absolutely no evidence whatsoever of differential outcomes, long-term, short-term, or medium-term, in human studies that show that there's any meaningful difference, or indeed any difference whatsoever, in those outcomes. We are absolutely evolved to the eating of meat which is cooked. We can also eat meat raw if that's what we choose to do. And just because something contains more of something like fat-soluble vitamins doesn't mean that that's better than less. There is an ideal amount. I've been eating cooked meat for the best part of 12 years and I'm not suffering any deficiencies, except in patience for fuckwittery. I don't think that can be resolved with nutrition, though, frankly. And carcinogens, well, there are no studies that are extant anywhere on this planet that can support that claim. in free-living human beings properly experimentally observed, precisely because that would be an unethical study in the first place to even set out to do such a study. So we have to look at mechanistic speculation based on isolated cells in a test tube, which don't tell us what happens in a free-living human being. Is there any evidence whatsoever that people that eat cooked meat get more cancer than people that eat only raw meat? No, there isn't any evidence for that whatsoever. Thanks for the question. Nah. Seed oils don't have the same effect on our cell membranes. Then what? Nin, and you're still not here. Do you not want to come in and be a co-host? You can. You've been invited. Yeah. Yep, I think I covered that. Thank you, Jonathan. Now, thank you for the super chat there. 5 Australian Pacific pesos, slightly better than the New Zealand ones. However, you've got too many Qs there. Just the one Q is what's required, not 3. So therefore, we're going to have to charge you 3 times for the question. Sorry about that. Those are the rules. Should one eat until full, even if weigh over 1.7? Where did you get 1.75 grams from? That is a minimum, absolute rock minimum. I advocate for 2 grams per kilo. 1.75 is probably insufficient for most people, Jimmy. Thank you for the super chat. Is stevia safe on carnivore for desserts that require a sweet taste? Well, number one, you do not require any sweet tastes. That's something that you will choose to do or not. It's not a requirement. Secondly, there is no evidence that stevia is damaging or safe, extant anywhere in the literature. There are implications that stevia may cause problems for fertility, at least, and several other issues as well. None of them have been established, mine. They're all mechanistic speculations. So the answer to your question is, who knows? Yeah. Yep, fair point. Fair point. Very good. Nonetheless, the reasons for me not advocating for that, I've given. There is no reason for me to advocate for that. None at all. Can you offer advice on what is sufficient DHA and EPA intake, or is the amount needed largely individual? It's the second thing. It depends on your requirements, your needs. What I do know is that I have been eating a diet with no focus on DHA, EPA whatsoever for about 12 years. My exact intake of extra exogenous DHA, EPA has been very, very minimal, as has my intake of seafood at large, because I base my diet 80% or so on ruminant meats and associated fat. I'm not short. I am short, I'm 5'6". I'm not short on EPA, DHA whatsoever. Okay. Question. During the transitory stage of going to OMAD, 1 meal a day, plus carnivore, do I move all carbs still being reduced out to 1 meal to reduce Randall's cycle? I'm not sure what you're asking. It's not clearly worded. You're transitioning to 1 meal a day, fine. That 1 meal a day is carnivore, yes. You're transitioning towards that. Do you move all your carbs to 1 meal? Yes, I would. But I would also work towards getting them gone, which I think is what you're suggesting you're doing. Good. Right, what's next? Danish dairy farmers are forced to use Bovier since October. Already there has been massive backlash, including cows dropping dead left, right and centre. Gosh, who'd have thunk messing around with the natural order of things, the natural design of things, could possibly cause problems that they didn't foresee? Are there any examples of that kind of thing going on anywhere in the world today? Or in the last 5 years, maybe? I don't know. The short answer to my reaction to that is that basically the very assertion that the stuff was necessary in any way for any reason was not based in science whatsoever. It was based in politics, theology, and money. It was absolutely fucking criminal that it was allowed to go ahead at all. It should stop immediately. And I, for one, will not do business with any company that associates itself with any dairy products whatsoever from animals that have been fed that toxic nonsense. And I would strongly encourage all others to take the same route, really. But anyway, what's your question? There is every indication this stuff finds its way into the milk. But what about the meat? Well, I would suggest that it's possible that it could end up in both places. Yeah. Yes. Where is DC David? Did he know you were going live? He said he had something else to do. Poor excuse, Dave. Poor excuse. Whatever. All right. Question. Is there a cabal of dark carnivores? What the purple fuck does that mean? What I mean, elites who are completely aware of all of this, eat this way, but verbally profess how terrible meat eating is and work to hinder the rest of us. How the fuck should I know? Probably. Yeah, he was here, but had to do some other things. Yes. What is your opinion on PSK9, that is, inhibitors? Unnecessary. Contraindicated. Not of use or value. Should not be taken. La, 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 la. How long's a piece of string, boss man? How long should you expect it to take for your acne to clear up? How long's a piece of string? Everybody's a bit different. Your mileage will vary. Just do the right thing. 5 health hacks, I suggest. It's not just carnivore diet. There are 4 other things that you should do in your life. Everybody, not just people with acne. Everybody should undertake 5 health hacks. And where do you find that information out? Look on my YouTube channel and do a search for 5 health hacks. Watch that video and do all 5 of those things every single day, except for the exercise one, which is every other day, which is number 5 on the list of 5 things. And not just any exercise, it's quite specific too. Perhaps you should go and watch that video. All right. Yeah. Play nicely in the background, boys and girls. No arguing. All right. Question. Is there a threshold of milk products consumption after which the activation of the Randall cycle is more pronounced and can interfere with the fat's oxidation? I believe it's individual, but still. Yes. The Randall cycle is a piece of machinery, for want of better terminology. It's really parsimoniously a description of the overall working of the cell, in that it has homeostatic mechanisms which are individual to that cell. Any given cell can have the Randall cycle activated fully or fully off, and the one right next to it could be the exact opposite end of the continuum, because these are not switches, by the way. These are faders, the carbs and fats oxidation thing. Overall, a pattern of tissues, a group of tissues, an organ or series of organs, will have an overall pattern of how much the Randall cycle is activated at any given time, based on the availability within the cell cytosol of the nutrients, carbohydrates and fats, relative to one another. Okay? So it's not a threshold thing. These are faders. Next question. Curious, what's your opinion on that, as you also include dairy? Well, there you go. That's my opinion on that. Yes. Like the stream, guys. Yes, like the stream. The stream needs your like. Or unlike, actually. The algorithm doesn't give a rat's ass whether you like it or unlike it. What it cares about is whether you actually have something to say, that you respond in some way. It doesn't care if it's negative, and neither do I, because I'm just going to ignore you. Yes.
Yes, a lot of talk in the background between two individuals. That's good. Whatever, so long as it's all polite and nice. We don't want any rudeness here on my channel. I don't think we could cope. Could we, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? Super intelligent shades of the colour sky blue pink.
And teddy bears.
Yes, thank you, Ted.
Just go and twiddle the knobs. Be a good boy. I should be in charge. Yes, I should. You're right. What are your thoughts on allulose if consumed only very occasionally? I doubt that it's likely to be a problem if you consume it only occasionally. There's also no evidence that it could be problematic if you took a lot of it all the time. There's just no evidence. There's nothing to go on. Yep. Thanks, Jonathan. Good to see you, mate. Love you. Nothing you can do about it. Sleep well. All of that. Nighty woo-woo. Nighty woo-woo. What could cause severe fatigue after eating? Well, a large glucose response to what you ate could be the first place I'd look. Been suffering this for over a year, been carnivore for 5 months, and it hasn't budged. Are you eating too much protein and not enough fat? I don't know. That's one thought. Also have bloating 24/7. That's interesting. Perhaps you should have a consultation or more with me. You can also buy casual consultations from me using PayPal, if you like. They're $350 US for the hour. Might be worth it. I could maybe help you, but I need more information, so we need to have a bit of a chat. A fellow libertarian, yes. Libertarianism is the correct model for governance, as far as I'm concerned, and everything else can suck my dick. Right. Thank you for the answer. You're welcome. I plan on talking to you one-on-one one day. Very good. You'll find me a different person in the real world, off camera. Well, I'll be on camera still, but not in the public eye. I mean, just a private discussion between you and I. You'll find me to be quite different. Don't be shocked. This is an act, largely, because we're all doing different roles at different times. We're all playing. I mean, think about it. When you're at work, are you who you are when you're not at work? Or do you put on a certain pattern of behaviours to suit your job that you're doing at that time? Anyway, there it is. Good afternoon, Q&A, sweet, yes. Hello, Dolly. Okay, James, it's getting boring now, mate. It really is. We get it. You like raw meat. Okay, that's fine. You eat raw meat. Who cares? That's fine. There's no problem with that. It's not superior to cooked meat in any way, shape or form. We all know you like raw meat now. Thank you very much. Leave it. For God's sake. What's your opinion on iodine supplementation? Only useful if you're short on iodine. Next question. In a single meal, how many grams of carbs would be safe before the random... Oh, God, I've covered this one. It's very individual. It's based on a whole bunch of different inputs and outputs. It's the balance of the availability and requirement for energetic substrates in the form of fats and carbohydrates in the cell cytosol at that time. Okay. If humans ate some fibre for a long time based on the nitrogen isotope studies, that's what we suspect. That's not an established fact. Wouldn't our microbiome do better with some fibre? Well, maybe. However, here's what we do know. There's only one study, really, that is at all even pseudo-clinical or remotely well-controlled in any way, shape or form, actually. It still isn't great, but it's N equals 63 or 64 or something from memory. It's the one Paul Mason talks about on his video about fibre and the microbiome and all of that, and constipation and all of that. What it seems is that the one study that's available on this, and one only it seems, suggests very, very clearly and unequivocally that fibre is problematic in terms of gut function. So, for what it's worth, there it is. What would you do? You need a Q in front of this, and a colon, and it needs to be suffixed with a question mark, for goodness sake, staff, students, boys and girls, attack helicopters, however you may identify, okay? What would you do if you wanted to learn more about human physiology, biochemistry, and quantum biology? The first thing I would do is learn how bad, how poor, how unscientific the so-called scientific literature really truly is, how appalling the quality of the nonsense that's published across this field of endeavour is. How would you learn that? And how to think like an actual scientist? Well, you would join my Patreon system at the Seekers of Knowledge, $10 US a month or above level, which will get you access to the course, which starts this week. Lesson 1. Dum dum dum. Right. Okay, James, seriously, we are sick to death of hearing about your raw meat fetish now. Stop, or I'll stop you. Okay? Yes, everybody hit the like button. MX dollars. Is that Mexican dollars? Don't know. Is it... Anyway, thank you for the dollars, whatever flavour they are. Is it quite popular for bodybuilders and gym rats to claim that spiking insulin intentionally is beneficial in muscle building? Yeah, there's a bunch of buffheads saying that. How does this compare to gluconeogenesis in muscle building? There's a bunch of equivocal literature available on that topic if people want to read it. At the end of the day, carbohydrates are not required for muscle building or muscle building effectively any more than they are required by the human system in any other way, exogenous carbs, that is. The idea that exogenous carbohydrates are required is false. They are not. The idea that they may be beneficial despite not being vital is equivocal at best. I, for one, don't buy it. I'm not convinced. I have worked with a number of professional, semi-professional, sub-elite athletes, as well as a couple of major organisations that deal with physically demanding occupations. I have obtained unbelievably good results in terms of performance with those athletes/professional peoples without them consuming any carbohydrate to speak of over an extended period of time for a number of years, and some of those people are still clients. Even though I'm not really a practicing academic anymore, because now I'm a social media influencer, a marketer of the Fine products by Cerule, a consultant to those of you that want that, and a farmer, or trying to be a farmer. That's hard, farming. All hail the farmers that do it. It's very hard. It's not easy. Okay, what do you think of Hair Cafe? I think I've covered that in a couple of videos that I made several weeks ago. Hair Cafe is an absolute, utter, complete imbecile. Without the first clue of what he's talking about. He's a talking head that is nothing more than a silly little boy with a very, very serious ego problem. And anyone that wants to listen to Hair Cafe, well, that's Darwin in action. You deserve what you get. Yes, do like and sub. I take it you're not coming on, Nin. I take it you're not coming on. You're in the green room. No, you're not. Okay, I'll have to send you another link, apparently. Okay. Righto. Let's find another link for you. Invite people. Copied. I'll send it to your email now and then while I'm thinking about it. Where is my email? There it is. Talk amongst yourselves. Welcome to Amateur Hour. Compose. Oh my God, seriously. Reply. Paste. There it is. Oof. Okay, there's a link then. I've just sent it to you again. Yeah, don't know what's going on there. Anyway. Would you suggest I immediately stop my metformin for my type 2 diabetes and a torvastatin? I would suggest that you stop the statin immediately, forthwith, sooner than yesterday. There are no circumstances under which a human being should ever touch a statin medication. Hello, Nin. How are you?
Hang on. I had some feedback there.
Did you? Ah,
Oh man,
right.
that's not a green room.
Right. That was not the green room, clearly.
Oh,
Anyway, now you're here. Good to see you. Everybody, meet my friend Nin if you haven't already. Some of you have already seen Nin around the traps, some of you wouldn't. Nin, why don't you give us an introduction to who is Nin, what are you all about, and stuffs?
I'm a human being
Are
who's been
you?
practicing natural medicine. Yeah, first and foremost.
Mm.
After that, I'm someone who practices natural medicine, and I've been doing it for 15 years. I love it. I love helping people, and especially since finding carnivore and my stem cell nutrition, it's been like a game changer. So having lots more fun. And of course, since finding you too.
Right. Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's
Right. Righty. Very good. Okay, so the question at play right now is, would we suggest
yes.
that a person immediately stop their metformin for type 2 diabetes and the atorvastatin? And I've said, yes, absolutely, stop the statin sooner than yesterday. Never, ever touch a statin with a barge pole. No human being should
Yes.
ever take statins under any circumstances. However, metformin, what are your thoughts on that, Nin? And then I'll chime in if they're any different from your thoughts.
I agree about statins because I understand the pathway that they affect. Things like blood pressure meds, I say no because I understand those pathways. Metformin, I've never really had to tell someone to stop it, and I don't because I always refer them back to their doctor, whoever prescribed it. But if I'm looking at the mechanism for that, also, I would probably say yes, you can, but I probably wouldn't be direct. I would recommend them to go back to their doctor.
Fair enough.
And tell them to.
Good.
Yeah.
Yep. My
But
take on metformin is this. Metformin works by working against or attempting to counteract the activities of the Randall cycle, basically. Ergo, in my mind, metformin is contraindicated. Not as seriously as is statins. Statins are an absolute contraindication. Metformin, but not a good idea. I would not be taking metformin personally, and if you want to get your blood sugar under control, the best possible way that you could do that is to stop eating carbohydrates. Period.
So it says it's suggesting to stop it immediately, not taking it at all. I would never take it either, but
That's
stop
right.
it immediately. It wouldn't. I don't think there would be any
I don't
effects.
know whether metformin needs to be ramped out or whether it can be just dropped personally, and that's not my field of expertise. So again, I would probably, if someone was asking me for individual advice rather than a generalised statement, then I would do the same thing as you've done, and that is to suggest that that person go back to their physician and say, so I don't want to take this drug. Do I just drop it or do I ramp it down? Not, do you think I should continue taking it? Because at the end of the day, your doctor's always going to tell you that you need the drugs that they prescribe for you because that's their business model. And they actually don't have the understanding at all of the... Most doctors do not understand the pharmacology of the drugs that they're prescribing at all. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. So there's that. All right. Blah, blah, blah. Right. Is carnivore optimal for height, growth, and puberty?
Yes.
I agree. Yes. Good. What's the next question? I think carnivore is optimal for every aspect of life.
It's
Am I a
interesting.
perfect carnivore
Not that
myself?
I've
No.
done a study on it. No,
Go on then.
I haven't done a study on it, but I've noticed, cultures that had access to meat are taller. I mean, it's just observational.
Okay.
And the ones that went through phases of starvation and poverty, like lots of villages, wow, they're just, and they're eating weeds. Very short people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love the super chat action. Thank you very much. Fordor 455, $5 US. That will be used by Ted for some nefarious purpose, won't it, Ted? Yes, I shall use it for some nefarious purpose, like knob twiddling. Ha ha ha! Behave, Ted, for goodness sake. We've got company. Goodness.
Yes.
This is a serious show, isn't
I
it?
do.
We can't have any of this nonsense. You can't do a thing with them, though, Nin. You really can't.
Send them on a holiday or something.
Indeed. What are the possible side effects of or for not eating quite enough protein daily?
I can speak to that.
Go on then.
Wow, under eating. It's a significant problem. I mean, for me personally, what I was doing, and I initially thought it was a good idea, but eating eggs first. So if I was hungry, I'd sort of have some eggs, and then I'd save my meat for later in the day. And I ended up not having as much meat because eggs and fat are quite filling. So I really wasn't that hungry, and I felt like I should eat some meat at some point in the day. And so when I did it that way, I was definitely eating less. And so what that does, I mean, if you're really interested in shifting your weight, so it really slows down, fat loss and feeling good and being nutritionally replete as well. So, I found my hair, my nails. I thought, what's going on? Stuff was just sort of falling apart. And I had a consult with you too, remember, Bart, about my thyroid.
Yeah.
So things were on the, down. So definitely having an adequate amount of meat is important. And I would say what's your thing? 2 grams per kilo of lean body weight, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
I would say
that's
forget
about
that.
the middle of the bell-shaped curve, yeah.
I would say
So
eat till you're
plus-
full. I like that.
Yep, that works too. Yep. But I say
And then I ate meat first.
Yes.
Eat your meat
till you're
first.
full, so long as what you're eating is meat and fat and not carbs, yes.
Yes.
Very good. Very
So
good
eat
indeed.
enough
Okay.
meat. And then if you're still hungry for later in the day, have some eggs maybe, but meat first.
Yeah.
And
Very
enough
good.
of it.
Okay.
It's interesting the way the internet describes K, polarizing nutrition scientist. Okay, a couple of things there. Number one, I have 2 names. It's quite offensive to refer to someone by their surname alone, at least it is in my country. I'm sure you don't mean offence, but nonetheless, that's quite offensive. If you like, you may call me Mr. K or Dr. K or Professor K or Field Marshal Lord Professor Dr. K, if you like, because all of those are titles that I'm legally entitled to. They're all correct and legal, but not just surname alone. And polarizing nutrition scientists. Do you see how there's no information of any kind there? That's somebody's opinion. Opinions being just like assholes, in that almost everybody's got one, and it's almost certainly full of shit. Hello, Niall. Haven't seen you for ages, mate. I've missed you. Where have you been? Probably in Ireland, because that's where you live. In cold climates, such as Ireland, should we take a vitamin D supplement because of lack of sun? If so, which one? Go on, then. Tell us.
I'm sorry.
You should be.
Looking at myself on the live stream. In cold climates, should we take D supplements lack of sun?
Yep.
D is a hormone, yeah?
Yes.
And if we're in a particular season, it's relevant that, D goes up or down, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And if we're in a cold climate continuously, and that's not our natural environment normally, like where we normally have been living, I still wouldn't. How long are you going to be there? Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of factors that you have to look at and say, well, that's relevant, yes, or it's not. But I'm still very hesitant.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it either. And if I was ever to change my mind on that and decide I was going to take a vitamin D supplement, then I would make sure I get one that's liposomal and one that's not presented in an oil base, because the worst thing you can put into your body is oil. Well, other than cyanide. Really? So, there it is. No, I wouldn't take a vitamin D supplement. It shouldn't be necessary. There should be normal annual variation upwards in the summer, downwards in the winter. The trick, Niall, is to bear that pasty white Irish skin for as much of the time as you can achieve during the summer, consistent with being
sufficiently clad for decency, depending where you are. All right, that's what you should do. All right, what's the next question? We seem to have some new people in, which is good, but then we have to educate them as to the need to put a large capital Q followed by a colon before writing their question, and then suffixing their question with a question mark. Anyway, there it is. Is ruminant meat sufficient source of iodine? Right now I use a lot of unrefined sea salt and I feel great. I fear that dropping the salt may result in an iodine insufficiency. Go on and tell us about it.
So many people are focused on particular things, this mineral, that mineral.
Yeah.
There are so many. There's so many trace minerals, and our body's ability to absorb what it needs from the right food for our species. Yeah. So if you're feeling good and everything's fine, I don't focus. I don't micromanage my minerals. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely, completely agree. Yeah. At the end of the day, what is actually important in our lives is our affect, not the value of some lab or the value of some mineral that some self-claimed authority tells you need X amount of in your body to be healthy, happy, and prosperous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all under control, really, until it's not. And then, if you've got a problem, deal with it. But don't try and make problems that don't exist. Don't overcomplicate things, for goodness sake, I think, people. Have you seen the German-Austrian doctors treating autoimmune diseases with very large doses of vitamin D? I haven't, but that's fine. I mean, astronomical, so like really, really high doses. If not, I recommend it. It's very interesting. Well, we can look into that at some point. Yeah, I wouldn't do it myself, though,
Are they doing more than what our GPs are doing? Because our GPs are injecting, I think, 500,000 IUs.
Woohoo! Yeah, and is that being injected in an oil base, Nin, or?
Wow. Oh, we'll have to ask Pharma about what's safe and effective.
Yeah. Yes. All right.
Wow.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay. Right. Sorry, fumble-fingered. Last comment. I meant to say, if you saw how seed oils are processed, it would turn your stomach. Yes. I have seen how they're processed, and yes, it did turn my stomach. You're quite right, fully laden swallow. But what's your favourite colour? Thanks for the $10. Why do you say something dark side instead of actual quote? What even is the actual quote? That is an actual quote. It's an actual quote from the Family Guy piss takes of the Star Wars movies, where the characters do say things like something dark side, something complete. Okay? It is an actual quote, but not from the original Star Wars movies, which after George Lucas sold the thing and let others have at it, they absolutely wrecked it. They destroyed it. It was just like what happened when the guy that writes the Game of Thrones stopped doing it and they took over and finished it without him. Oh my God, are you serious? Anyway, that's it for another day. I'm over it now, though. Not really. Is dairy from Amos Miller's farm safe? How the hell should I know? Who the hell is Amos Miller's farm? Thank you for the question, Luke. Yeah. My goodness gracious. Do you use suet? Yes. Is it better than muscular fat? No. What do you think, Nin? Do you prefer suet over muscular fat or what?
It's not what I prefer. If it's there, I do it. But I tend to just, find my tallow and that's it. Yeah, tallow, whatever. No difference.
If I'm adding fat to anything, I tend to add it in the short chain version largely, mostly butyric, mostly butter. Plus I generally eat the fat that's associated with the meat that I'm eating. I actually am not a fan at all of tallow. I quite like sheep fat, lamb fat, but I just don't enjoy beef fat for some reason. That's just a personal thing.
Wow.
Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, I prefer ghee over butter. But
Okay, fair play. Yeah. In which circumstances does gluconeogenesis become impaired? I've found that during times of heavy extreme immune stress, I don't think my body is performing gluconeogenesis very efficiently. Well, there's a can of worms. There's a lot of threads in there. Which one would you like to pick at, Nin?
wow, in which circumstance does gluconeogenesis become impaired? So your body's ability to make its own glucose, and so impairment can happen because the liver's not working well.
Yep. Good.
So if you've got an overburdened liver, I would be looking after that and not focusing so much on, is it making glucose? I mean, again, I don't know how you do this, but there's a lot of people are micro, it's very detailed sort of stuff that people like to drill down into and not focus on the bigger picture.
That's right.
About how well the body works overall,
Well said.
and they're all connected. Your liver, your kidneys, even to make vitamin D, you need a healthy liver, healthy kidneys, good skin, that's.
Yeah.
So what I would say to this specific question, I mean, how's your liver function going? What other symptoms do you have that could point to the fact that that's impaired?
Yeah.
Heavy
Also, when you say you've got an extreme immune system stress, how do you know? Who told you that? On the basis of what? Yeah. I don't think my body's performing gluconeogenesis very efficiently. Again, who told you that? On the basis of what? Where did you get that from?
Yeah.
I'm confused. I wish I wasn't so easily confused. I'm very stupid, Nan.
I love it. 3 questions. That's a complex question, and tell us how you feel and what's going on with you. Give us an example in your life of what's going on.
Yeah. How does that make you feel? Yeah, good. All right. Thoughts on EZ water or exclusion zone water or structured water or whatever you want to call it, or H3O2? Do you know anything about that, Nan?
I love it. It's the 4th phase of water.
Yeah.
It reminds me of plasma, and it's our thoughts on it. Well, it's absolutely essential because that's how your cells communicate with each other, is through this particular, format. It's like, a Wi-Fi signal needs to have, a clear, sort of communication with a router. So it's the same thing. If there's something interfering with that ability for a wave to get through, space, I think easy water is, that's just the way water has always been. Yeah, structured, whatever you want to call it. It's totally, I'm in love with it. I actually get my water from Iceland because apparently that's that, the deuterium depleted and all that. Yeah, it's anything alpine or glacial that's the best type of water that you will get proper hydration from. So instead of drinking 3 litres a day, I'm probably doing a litre or something. I don't measure it, but I drink when I'm thirsty, and that's it. And it's totally hydrating. You don't have to pee all the time because it doesn't go straight through you. So that's my thoughts on
I'm
easy
a man in his
water.
mid-50s. I need to pee all the time. No, I don't. That's a lie. It's a joke. I don't have to pee all the time. But most of my contemporaries, most of my friends I went to school with, men in their 50s, when I compare myself to them, if I just look at my face pages and go, let's see what that person's up to, let's see how they're going and stuff. Wow, it's frightening. Not to mention, a number of contemporaries I went to school with are dead. It's shocking.
Wow.
It's amazing. Anyway, there it is. Okay.
A high carb diet would do
Yes,
that.
a high carbohydrate, diet with, junk seed oils, inflammatory stuff, lack of adherence to some basic disciplines, and, the human body will age, become decrepit, fall to bits, and people will start dying. The other thing that, is involved in a number of my contemporaries being no longer with us is some kind of intervention that's been imposed at some point in the last 5 years. But that is something we cannot speak about.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Busy stuff.
We cannot discuss the thing. No discussing the thing. Right. Good. Yes. Al Gore and his rhythms. We love a bit of Al Gore up in here. If only Al Gore would work for us instead of working against us. Him and his rhythms, the Al Gore rhythms, that is. Right, question. If you eat carbs and there is a huge blood sugar spike, and if in another time you eat the same amount of carbs with fibre and the spike is blunted, is it enough to say that it's okay to eat carbs? No.
Wow.
Absolutely not. Goodness gracious. Yeah.
I love how we just try to, we just do our best, don't we, to bring it back in.
We do, yeah.
If
Basically,
you, I think if you're still,
yeah.
sorry.
No, not at all.
I think if you're still making attempts to make excuses to get your carbs in, you probably still have an addiction to it. Yeah, if you're still talking about it, thinking about it, wanting to have a workaround,
yeah.
Listen, it's an addiction.
Let me be very clear with people here. Let me give you a list of all the reasons a person absolutely should consume any amount of carbohydrates whatsoever to speak of. You do not need to eat carbohydrates, and neither should you. Even if you're an athlete, even if you are a hypertrophy athlete, even if you are an endurance athlete, even if you are a small yellow teddy bear, especially if you are a small yellow teddy bear, no carbs are required or indeed identified definitively as beneficial in any way, shape or form, short, long or medium term, period. End of discussion. We're done. You do not need carbs. It is not stressful to not eat carbs, except for those of you who are addicted to carbs, in which case the stress is your addictive response, not your physiological need for carbs. Still. Okay?
Yes.
Very good. Oh, let's deal with this one, sorry. Are you familiar with the supplement urolithin A? I'm not.
Urolithin A. Is that? Yeah, I'm just thinking. Is it something to do with what is it called? Like a gut thing, but no.
Pass. You can Google it if you like in the background. I've got no idea. I've never heard of it. Ouch. These cans are squashing my shell-like ears. My beautiful little ears are getting punished by these cans. I need some new cans.
It does have something.
Send me all your money, folks, so I can get some new cans. Right, go on, Dan. Have you got the answer?
Oh, it has something to do with the gut. It's like a metabolite of the microbiome. So, do you need a metabolite for the microbiome? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Probably complete nonsense then. Right. What's the reason for carnivores feeling more satiated after consuming ruminants meat versus non-ruminants like pork or fish? Is the amino acid profile or something else that stimulates the satiety signal?
Yeah.
No idea. It's probably that your body knows that it's got what it needs. And
I think so.
Given that there's less of that in other meats.
Yeah. White meats, right? So white meats, it doesn't feel like they have all the nutrients. Yeah. It doesn't feel nutritionally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And iron and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Are grounding mats effective? Yes.
The right ones.
The ones that work.
The good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So long as you can test yourself with a multimeter and the thing is working, if you are electrically grounded, then yes, they are effective. They do exactly what they say they do.
Yes.
Will you be drinking raw blood since now you have your own animals? No, I won't be. Have you had it before? Yes, my own when I've bit my lip. I don't like the taste. And the thing is, when you bite your lip and it gets all swollen and you've got this sticky outy thing, you're going to bite it again, aren't you? And then you keep doing it, and then it kind of heals with a scar, which has kind of been thickened. And oh my God! So I keep doing it. Yeah. Can you describe the
Takes a while
taste?
to heal.
Metallic. Yeah, I don't like the taste of blood. Sorry, I'm late. Been trying to get 4 pounds of jerky in the smoker. Is that a euphemism? Goodness gracious.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. What did you let yourself in for, Nin? This is a serious
Sounds good
professional
either
show,
way.
for goodness sake. Right, but nonetheless, you're late, so you will need to report to Ted after class, please, for administrative correction. Whatever Ted deems as a suitable punishment. Probably involving that bucket of soapy frogs back there, I would suggest. That's why he's got that there ready for latecomers. That's the one that's sat right next to that wetsuit that's hung on the wall with the bottom cut out. Anyway. Right.
Doesn't sound that bad.
Well, you've just made friends with Ted. Is coconut nectar sugar any better than raw cane sugar? No. Why would it be? Sugar is sugar is sugar, even if it's not in the form of sugar, because when you eat it, it breaks down to sugar. Sugar is sugar is sugar. We should make it. Maybe we should make a song about that. I don't know. Right. This one's interesting. People use the reasoning that some carbs cause very slow blood sugar increase, being better than food that causes a huge spike. Your thoughts? Here it is. You're talking about a thing called the GI scale, which is a measurement of how quickly a given form of carbohydrate is proposed to break down and dump sugar into the bloodstream. Here's the problem with it. The studies that were undertaken in the first place to determine the GI scale for all sorts of different carbohydrate foods and things was done with a sample size of 12, so no statistical power. And in those 12 individuals, the variation between different individuals for the exact same bolus of food under the same controls, such that they were, was so wide as to render the GI scale useless for any given person. And then when they retested the same individual on a number of occasions on different days at the same time of day with the same controls in place, etc., the variation between individual responses on any given day was so wide as to render the thing useless. The GI scale is a anti-scientific piece of smoke and mirrors propaganda put together by someone who had a vested interest in selling you carbohydrates, by the way. Interesting. No. Nonsense, basically. Absolute, utter nonsense. What's next? Unless you've got some input into that. Unless I'm wrong in some way, in which case you're more than welcome to say I'm wrong if you like, so long as you realise that that is deemed hate speech.
Okay. Oh, okay. And what happens if I do that?
Well, you'll be guilty of hate speech under the laws of Pimbatia, and then you'll have to report to Ted.
Oh, Ted. Oh, that's not too bad. I like Ted.
I wouldn't take Ted too lightly, Nin, if I was you. Goodness gracious. He's been around as Ted. He's even been known to have a nice cuddle with Dr. Chafee. Has Ted?
Yeah, I've seen that, I think. Was that public cuddle?
Yeah. It was. It happened in Adelaide.
Section?
Yeah, yes,
Cool.
no. Yes, Al Gore and his rhythms. We love it. Very good. Right. Can you explain again the benefits of sufficiently activating insulin with protein and its relationship to the adrenal glands or electrolyte balance? Yes, we can. Nin, go for it.
Yes, sure. So if you have an adequate spike, which meat can give you, that spike is sufficient enough to trigger the kidneys to not lose electrolytes. Yeah, and that's again that's why adequate meat intake is important. Otherwise, you would have to be concerned about electrolytes. Yeah, lost through the kidneys.
Yes. Also, there's, I'm not sure if you mentioned it or not because I was reading ahead, sorry. If you didn't mention it, also there's an effect on thyroid function. as well, which is important. Yeah, okay. I'm always accused of not listening properly. Pim's always saying to me that I don't listen, and some other shit that she says too. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
That's all right. Your brain
Yes,
is.
so yes, it's all a game. You're right, it is all a game. Would you come to the UK and speak if I organise a carnivore conference? No, I'm sorry, I wouldn't. For several reasons. Number one, I hate travel. I don't want to travel. I never want to do it ever again in my life. It's horrific. I find it the worst thing in the world. Secondly, if I was to make port of call in the UK and somebody scanned my passport, what would then happen after that is His Majesty's Constabulary would be called and I would be arrested immediately. So that's for another day, though. Right. Well, that was a conversation stopper, wasn't it? All right. The Feral Grandma, thank you for the $10. We love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. We love you too, Grandma. Thank you for the $10. Ted will use that for some reason. I'm not sure what he'll use it for. Ted is the holder of the purse strings around here. Is ground beef being the main source of meat okay? I can't find any decently fatty cuts here, and the best I can do is 70-30 ground beef. Yeah. I've got no problem with that. And, if you're still hungry after a decent amount of that and, you feel like you need more, have some more fat. Maybe add butter. That's what I do. I add butter if I'm going to have something like that. But
Can I just add something to that?
Absolutely, yes, so long as it's not hate speech.
No. Well, okay. I hate old ground beef.
Yes.
So as long as, I don't know how they're getting it, but it's close enough to being freshly ground as possible. That's ideal.
Yeah.
And if not, okay, whatever. But that's,
Right. Yeah. As far as I'm aware, Stompin' Beast, the stream is delayed to the public by about 20 seconds. If it's more than that, that's something that YouTube is doing that's nothing to do with me at all. Greetings from the bees. Greeting the bees? Who are the bees? I don't know. $10 from Go Create Happy. Thank you for the Canadian loonies. We like those. They're good. Does carnivore heal the need for Lasix? There's no evidence for that. Yeah. Can't get off this without major leg edema at this point. Okay. Yeah, no, there's no evidence to suggest that the carnivore diet necessarily heals anything specifically, although it just seems that it being the species-appropriate, species-specific diet, that it tends to put your body in a good likelihood of healing itself from whatever its problems are. I also recommend 4 other health hacks other than the carnivore diet. The first health hack is, of course, the carnivore diet, 100%, or as close to that as you can attain and maintain in your lifestyle. The second one is 3 specific products from the fine folks at Sorul, which I'm now going to shut up and let Nin tell us all about.
And then I can talk to the Lasix and the leg swelling, if that's all right?
You bet. Of course you can.
Yeah. Well, stem cell nutrition is what I've used to actually help with this sort of problem, and not claiming anything, but what we're doing is enabling the body to release its own stem cells. And then what those stem cells go and do is the magic. Yeah. So the second part of the magic, which is, healing, enabling, cells to function better. So by replacing old dying cells with brand new healthy cells, you're helping the body to, if the liver's, dysfunctional, the heart's, the heart cells are not functioning properly, you're actually helping to replace those cells. And in that way, you're improving whole body function. That's quite amazing. The leg swelling to me suggests something to do with the heart. And I don't know if Co-Create has an issue there, but there could be, part of the heart is not doing its job, and that's leading to leg swelling. So the carnivore diet will, of course, get you as strong and healthy as possible, and then also having that stem cell nutrition, the stem enhance in particular, to help the heart muscles to function better. I think, like I said before, the game changer for me was doing carnivore diet with Stem Enhance.
Awesome. And where do people get Stem Enhance from, Nin?
Either you or me, but have you got your link down
from
there?
you.
Yeah.
They get it from you. Where do they get it from?
Oh, ndaniel.sorul.com. So I have my own link.
There you go.
And you're more than welcome to do that. And with that, you can. I'm more than happy to actually, have conversations with people. So you can email me, and we can.
Oh God, people are awful.
Discuss.
You don't want to talk to people, Nin.
Yeah, email is fine.
Yeah. There you go. ndaniel.sorul.com. CERULE is Sorul. N for Nelly. That's not, it's N for Nin. Daniel at Sorul.
Yes.
.sorul.com, I mean. .sorul.com, not at. Yes. There it is.
And
Very
email
good.
me, and I'll help you with your particular situation. We'll get you on the right stem cell products and the right dose.
Very good.
Yeah.
You also should have Cyactive and you should have Plasma Flow. Best in a wellness pack on auto ship, otherwise called subscribe and save. That way you get 18 to 20% discount. Or if you don't want to pay for your products at all, send Nin an email and ask her how that works, because she'll be delighted to tell you, I'm sure. All right. Heard some cultures are able to thrive eating a starchy diet but don't eat many fruits. Is this plausible? Well, it depends on how you define thrive. And yes, it's plausible. The human system is capable of operating at least apparently well enough under a wide range of circumstances. It's one of the reasons that humans haven't been wiped out by a lot of things that wiped out a whole bunch of other animals, really. How do you remember so much detail even though you haven't been in university setting for some years? Do you think in a purple fit that being involved in the university system had anything to do with my memory? Goodness gracious. No. No. I've always had one of those memories. I don't know why I was born with it. Maybe it's part of my autism spectrum presentation. But, I mean, you play me a piece of music that I heard once 15, 20 years ago and I'll remember it.
Wow.
Scripts from comedy, skits, like Monty Python stuff, those kind of things I can quote you. I could just about quote you The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
God.
I've just got one of those memories. I don't know. That's how it is. Whatever.
You
howdy,
basically
Nin.
forget.
I don't
Howdy,
forget
Josephine.
things. Yeah.
So lovely. Where is Josephine? Has she said
I've
where
got no
she's
idea.
from?
Josephine, if you want to tell us, you can tell us where you're at.
Yeah.
Wouldn't pre-workout
Again, you're
carbs
all
increase the muscle
email-
unit recruitment? Sorry, Nin, what did you say?
Sorry. I was just saying, just email me if you need help with anything.
Oh, right. Good. Yes. Okay. Wouldn't pre-workout carbs increase the muscle unit recruitment, therefore leading to more hypertrophy? No. Why would it? Here's a good one for you, Nin. You can answer that one. What's the maximum daily dosage of Sorul Stem Enhance pills?
Okay. So depends on what situation you have going on. The worst case scenario, I think, but in your case too, we understand that taking more than say 16 capsules a day, it's not going to do anything negative to you. It's just, I think, it plateaus out the effect.
Yeah, that's it.
You can't
Yep,
release
exactly
that
that.
many more stem cells. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's about 16
Yes.
a day. Yeah.
Exactly
In
that.
divided
Yes.
doses.
So there's no toxicity level. The product is cleaned up to the nth degree. In fact, the legal requirement for the number or amount of toxins in the Stem Enhance product is 16 times lower than what is required for tap water. Okay, so you can take as many of them as you like. However, if you take more than 16 a day, it won't do you any more benefit because it tops out in terms of its ability. Exactly what Nim said. 16 is a lot, though, to get in, and I would take that in 4x4 if you're going to. I would also, if you're going to take that many, probably suggest that you don't want to pay for them. You want to earn them for free, in which case talk to Nin about how that's done, and she'll tell you. Email her. What's your email address?
info@stemcellnutrition.com.au.
Love it. There it is.
So
Okay.
please, hope.
Master Chief Burgess of the Meat Militia. front and centre. Were you late to class today, Master Chief Burgess? In which case, guess who you need to report to after class for a bit of... All right. I found after I went carnivore, says Dave, metformin had no impact on my blood glucose, so I stopped it. I guess if you're not activating the Randall cycle, it's going to have limited impact. Correct.
Yeah.
Very good. And when you stopped the metformin, Dave, did you immediately drop dead because you stopped your metformin? Or in which case, I'd better send flowers to your lovely wife. I'm sorry to hear of your demise. What literature would you recommend to self-educate about biochemistry or related topics? I wouldn't. At all. I would suggest you binge watch my stuff on YouTube and then binge watch it again. I'm the science. Trust me, I'm safe and effective. Don't question the science. Yes, do smash the like button. Isn't it interesting? It doesn't work. They really hate me at YouTubes, don't they? They really do. Incredible. How can a neurogenic bladder be reversed? What do you think, Nan?
Well, that's to do with it's a neural issue, right? So the nervous tissue. Any disorders with that? I mean, again, we're not making claims, but valvodynia, any of these neuropathic issues, I straight to stem cell range for sure. So not reversing, again, we're not claiming to do that, but people report that the results that they're getting is, the level of improvement. I mean, it's incredible. So I would definitely use stem enhance, plasma flow, just to make sure we're maximizing circulation to that area. And plus or minus, Cyactive or Cyactive joint, just for that added anti-inflammatory effect. But that's how I would tackle these very difficult, difficult to treat chronic problems that doctors just don't have solutions for. The medical system. Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I would deal with it.
Right, so that covers the first 2 of the 5 health hacks. I would add the other 3 as well, and you can find out what those are by watching my video on that topic on my channel. Very good.
Absolutely.
If we end up in some utopia where meat is banned, can we substitute it with eggs, and how suitable is this until we find who to eat? Basically, at the end of the day, anyone that allows themselves to be told what they can and cannot eat by anybody else, well, that's Darwin, isn't it, basically? We need to stand shoulder to shoulder and look these see you next Tuesdays in the eye and say, no, you're not going to tell us what we can eat and what we can't eat, basically. That's my answer to that one. I'm not even going to entertain the possibility because at the end of the day, it's just not going to happen. I will not be told what to eat by anybody else.
It's true.
Any thoughts?
But I've been thinking seriously about that because, the digital thing and there's, digital ID and all that currency stuff, right?
Another thing to say no to.
Credit score stuff, right? So come that day where it's going to be difficult to get meat, I'm ready to store a year's worth in a freezer. So just, I think just plan ahead as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just have a year's worth. And hopefully by a year, we'll know a little bit more about where we are and what's going on and, finding ways ways around it.
Yeah. Thanks for the comment there, Mate. Yes, absolutely. That's a boast I throw out quite often. Anyone that wants to prove me wrong on anything, feel free. And we are still waiting. Anything of any meaning or value or importance. Basically, the reason for that is because before I open my mouth and say something publicly about how something is or isn't, I make damn sure I'm unassailable before I open my mouth. I don't just say things and then think, I wonder whether that was right or not. Unlike almost every other influencer out there, they just open their mouth and say whatever the hell they feel like saying without any consideration of whether what they're saying is actually correct, robust, of utility, and defensible. if somebody has their gallbladder removed, how would you recommend the individual transitions to complete carnivore keto? First of all, before we answer this question, can we stop conflating carnivore and keto? They are not the same thing. And a properly formulated carnivore diet is not particularly ketogenic.
Yes.
And if you want to do a keto diet, I would advise you differently to how I would advise you if you tell me you want to do a carnivore diet. So which one is it that you want the information on? I'm going to assume it's carnivore. So let's assume the person wants to go carnivore. What would you tell them, Nin, if they don't have a gallbladder? Stop asking your questions more than once, by the way. Sorry, Nin, go on.
No, that's cool. Yeah, deal with this every day. Gallbladders are the most removed organ in the world. There's a lot of people out there without one. And what you must do is gradually increase your fat intake. Your gallbladder can't keep up with the amount of fat that you consume in one sitting because you can't release the bile. There's no bile to store in order to do that. It comes from the liver. So my recommendation would transition gradually. So even if it means starting on a teaspoon of fat a day and then just seeing how you feel. And also you would probably need to be on some sort of bile flow product. And that's where I use some natural things to help the bile flow better. Because remember, it's not being stored. The liver is still making it and it still trickles down the ducts into the digestive system. So we still need, there still needs to be work done in there. And I think even, but correct me if I'm wrong, but it's been shown that some people create pouches and store bile, like eventually store bile like in pouches.
Okay, I've never heard of that, but I'm sure, yeah, okay.
But again,
Cool.
bile flow, you still need to treat the consistency of your bile to make sure it's flowing properly, and then gradually increase your fat intake.
Right.
However long it takes.
So you've already made a comment about the delay on the stream, so why make it again? And secondly, how do you know it's delayed? If it is delayed, how would you know that? It makes no sense what you're asking me there at all. None at all whatsoever. What the hell are you talking about? For goodness sake. Right. Steak and butter girl likes sardines. Yeah, I know. Canned one's okay. No, absolutely not. In my mind, I wouldn't touch canned sardines with a barge pole, personally.
Yeah.
And I've explained why not 1,000 million billion times. So maybe just have a look on my channel and you'll find out why. Basically, it's to do with plastic liners in the tins and the very likely oxidation of the oil that they're generally presented in, if they are presented in oil. Yeah, but even if they're in water, there's still usually a plastic lining on the cans, which is not good. Yeah.
Yes.
How can carnivore mitigate low bone density in post-menopausal women?
Beautiful. Another one.
Yeah. Well, tell us all about it, Nin.
Absolutely. So you get everything, all the nutrients you need from a carnivore diet. It's the issue is being on a carb diet that pulls calcium from your bones. So really, this is how you mitigate it, is by going carnivore, getting all your nutrients that way, plus or minus dairy, if that's in your culture, your ancestry, and you do okay with it. You'll know if you can do okay on it. And I tend not to, so I minimize. And goat seems to be okay for me. But getting your calcium, all your minerals from a bit of dairy, mostly, the meat, fatty meat. That will take time, yeah? How you can then compound that effect is with your stem cell range, stem cell nutrition.
Very
so that's
good
where I
indeed.
would create more bone cells.
Very good.
Yeah.
Right. Pretty strict carnivore for 1.5 years. Very good. Down 22 kilos. Awesome. Great job. I still crave lots of salt. That's fine. I use Redmond salt, also fine usually, and coarse salt to all my 2 meal a day. 1 meal a day is probably better if you can. Anything to be concerned with? No, not whatsoever. What's next?
Yeah.
Yep.
Feel good until you don't.
That's right. Am I coming to Saxton Oval to watch the T20 Black Caps versus West Indies? No, I won't be. I'm too busy. Sorry about that. Cereal capsules better taken on an empty stomach or with fat. Does coffee affect absorption? Thanks. While it does have recommendations on the labels, I have found that it makes no difference whatsoever. Just get them down you. The one thing I will tell you about cereal products is they do not work at all in the bottle in your pantry. They only work if you take them every fucking day. Excuse my language. Or don't, whatever. Yes, getting plenty of sun is also handy. Also, 12 meaningful impacts on your long bones a day will maintain your bone mineral density via Wolff's Law. Don't avoid fat. Don't avoid cholesterol. Don't take statins. Don't avoid the sun. We've covered that. Yeah, all good.
Do drink easy water.
Yeah. Well, your body makes easy water from any kind of water that you drink. It's more likely to be able to make it from deuterium depleted rather than deuterium rich water because of the differences there. But at the end of the day, drinking structured water, I mean, it's just going to denature as soon as you drink it. So that's... Anyway, there you go. Okay. Do you ever do any in-person meets with like a convention or anything like that? Yes, I did go and do a presentation in Adelaide last year. I was down to do one in Melbourne as well, but for reasons beyond my control, I wasn't able to make it that day. I decided when I did the thing in Adelaide to do the Field Marshal Act. I had the uniform on and the riding crop, and Ted was with me, and that's how come he ended up whoring himself out to Anthony Chafee. You're a whore, aren't you, Ted?
Yes!
He's anybody's, basically. He's a tart. Right. I'd love for some family and friends to learn some of your knowledge. Well, I would too, but whether they want to do that or not is up to them. They won't watch or believe online. Well, what makes you think they'd believe me in person if they don't believe me online? Yeah, don't know. When can we expect some TED merchandise? There is already TED merchandise on my merchandise store. Have you not looked in my merchandise store? I need a TED plushie. Ask if I'm retarded when I try to rationalise exogenous carb intake. All right, send me a design. Yeah. Crickets, yes, crickets. Yes, the thing that shall not be named. We're doing a Harry Sopranos here. We're behind in terms of, if you mean why is the stream so far behind the questions, that doesn't mean the stream's delayed. It's because we're spending time on the questions. Right, we're doing a Harry. Only not as much as Harry does a Harry, because the only person that does a Harry as fully as Harry does is Harry. Love you, Harry. Nothing you can do about it. $50. We love $50. $50 is awesome. What are your thoughts about nootropics such as lion's mane found in mushroom coffee alternatives? There is some evidence in my understanding that lion's mane does what it says it does, and that is it encourages the development of new connections between neurons. That's awesome, probably. Do you know anything about lion's mane?
I do, and I use it. I use it in clinic for sure. So I use plants, herbs. I use plants therapeutically, and they're great. So the dose, just the dose. You don't need to consume, like a bucket load of these things. Yeah, just therapeutically, appropriately, right time, right person, for sure. But it's this blanket thing where everyone should be taking all these things. No.
Yeah.
Which is what people are tending to do.
When am I going to start weightlifting? You mean again? I started weightlifting when I was 16 and I stopped doing it regularly when I was about 28. So that's many moons ago. Will I get back to it at some point? Yes, I'm sure I will. Maybe. In the meantime, I'm very, very busy doing lots of lumping things around the farm and farm work and playing cricket in the summer and stuff. I've got enough on that. While it's a good idea, absolutely, to do resistance training, it's just not fitting in right now. That's what she said. Do you believe that the consumption of aged dairy products and butter alongside meat can negatively affect lifespan in the long run? Yeah, it's possible. It's not a definitive or a yes, that's absolutely what you can expect, but yes, that's possible. Why would anyone eat aged dairy products, whatever that means, and aged butter? Aged butter sounds like rancid butter to me, and rancid butter is not a good idea.
Fermented.
Well, fermented is a different thing. That's not necessarily aged. You can ferment something very quickly. Like kefir only takes, 12 hours. Is that aged? I don't know. You tell me.
Got to
Yeah.
watch how you word. Yeah.
Okay.
I think cheese.
Thoughts about...
yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, sorry. It's just, I think they're referring to things like ferment. I mean, cheese is, say that's aged, right? Yeah. It can sit there for 2 years or whatever.
Right.
And get moldy.
Yeah.
Is that...
That
is
could
a
be
problem?
aged. I wouldn't eat moldy cheese either because I'm allergic to penicillin. So there you go. You don't need aged food. Right. Thoughts on low molybdenum causing a sulfate deficiency issue? That sounds like reductionism to me.
Yes.
Again, let's look at the overall picture of things before we start making prognostic statements. Yes. Clearly we have quite a few new people, which is good. It's awesome that new people are coming in, but people, again, stop asking your questions repeatedly over and over and over in the chat. We go through the chat in order, we deal with the questions in order. Adding yourself in to say the same question over and over again only slows the process down still further. Please don't do that. Right. Which is a worse situation in your eyes? In addition to fatty carnivore diet, consuming 150 grams of lactase, persistent people with it. What the hell are we talking about here, for God's sake? What is your question? Love you. There's nothing you can do about it, Joseph. Okay, but please, what are you asking? This just sounds like a bunch of words for no real gain of any kind. Yeah. Goodness gracious. Let's stick to what's important, shall we? Let's see if we can untease any of this. In addition to a fatty carnivore diet, yes, consuming 150 grams of lactase, persistent people, but I don't even know what that even says, Joseph, I'm sorry. What are you, that's just tortured English. I'm sorry. I can't answer your question. I don't know what even it is. Do you know what it is, Lynn? I can't.
It's like
I can't make...
Too early for me. In
yes.
addition to a fatty...
Try again, maybe,
lactase.
Joseph.
Yeah.
Yeah, try and keep your questions like meaningful and simple, and wow, sorry. All right, love you. Still, nothing you can do about it. I had a full pancreotomy a couple of months back. Jesus, that's not a good idea. Operation caused a chyle leak as well. Will I ever be able to do carnivore? Well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Why would you not be able to? Yeah. I'm going to have to do something about getting some new cans. These are very uncomfortable.
You would be better off doing carnivore as opposed to, pancreas consists constantly with a carb diet. Sure.
Right.
So you would definitely be better off.
How much raw milk is too much at once in regards to insulin spike? How long's a piece of string? Your mileage will vary. It's individual. What's next? When you have been a carnivore for a while, I guess, how should your stools be naturally? Small, well-formed, relatively firm without being hard, and very, very easy to pass without any effort whatsoever. Usually in one long string, one and done, I find.
And not as often as you think either.
Yeah. How did you manage not to lose Ted for so many decades? I've got no idea how that happened. I really don't.
Wow.
It must be ordained at a higher level. I don't know. Because at various times, Ted and I haven't spoken for years. And then he just shows up. Oh, Ted, you're still here? Okay. Well, there it is. How is Pimbatia after the floods? We're getting there. It's a long process to recover from such a damaging event. It's 2 steps forward and 1 step back and 3 steps forward and 2 back, and we fix one thing and another thing breaks, and dealing with insurance companies. Yeah. Anyway, there it is. Yeah. Thank you to myself and the lovely Nin for the answers and the hacks. You're more than welcome. That's why we're here.
Awesome.
Yeah. Lame Norton already debated Paul Salad, I don't know, and got whooped. Yes. See, anyone that can be beaten in a debate by Paul Salad, I don't know, for God's sake. Wow. I mean, if you can't beat Paul Salad, I don't know, in a debate, there's something wrong with you. Yeah.
Wow.
No. Anyway, there it is. There it is. Question. Here is something incredible. I have diagnosed ADHD. It's been a real struggle all my life. Switched to keto before I knew about carnivore. My symptoms went into remission. Do you see how that's not a question?
Oops.
That's not a question. That's a statement. Well done. Awesome. Love it. Great information, but that's not a question. Right. Q's should be put in front of questions, not statements. There we go. There's Nin's address for Cerule if you want to get some Cerule. Very good. Get into them. Here's an interesting one. Can you take Stem Enhance while pregnant? On the bottle there is a warning about pregnancy and breastfeeding, and the reason it's there is because pregnant woman and breastfeeding woman are a protected subpopulation that everyone's overcautious about, and the warning has to be there legally from the FDA point of view. It's an American company. That said, there is no reason whatsoever that a pregnant woman or a breastfeeding woman should not consume Stem Enhance Ultra. No reason whatsoever. So, there you go. Anything different from that, Nin, in your opinion?
Absolutely not. I always say it's on the bottle, so it's your choice, but it's a food.
Yeah. There we go. Just confirmation of the sad news that Dave did in fact die 5 minutes after he stopped his pharmacological drugs. So there you go, everybody. Don't stop your pharmacological drugs because you'll die 5 minutes later. A good thing, though, he was taking Stem Enhance at the time, so he's still with us, even though he died. It's like he was turned into a newt, but he got better. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Okay, next question. What would be the supposed benefit of someone with a weak heart function taking Jardiance? Never heard of it. What's Jardiance? Goodness gracious.
It is a sodium glucose co-transport inhibitor used for type 2 diabetic, chronic heart failure, chronic heart disease.
I wouldn't touch it then. I wouldn't touch it then on that basis, personally. But that's just me. What's your views on spices? Are there good ones and bad ones? Yes. Son of Odin. Ragnar, son of Odin. Welcome to the show. You're late, which means you need to report to Ted after the show, down the back, where he will administer some punishment of some kind for you being late. Probably dusters or something like that. Yes. Very good. If oxalates are made in the body, which they can be, and eating them causes problems, full stop. Good English. Well done. Try again. Then why is having more cholesterol okay when your body makes it? Do you see how those two things have nothing to do with each other whatsoever? There's no logical thought process there of any kind. Those are just words you've written there. Love being carnivore. Good. Good. We love having people in the carnivore community. And thanks to me. No, thanks to you for being here. But yeah, your question probably needs some work. Love you.
Can I say? I think they're trying to say that since your body makes something, taking something externally will affect, have a negative effect. No, that's not how it works. Because then,
Right.
just because your body
Yeah, I
makes
got
something,
that, but
adding to it.
my response is based around the fact that oxalates and cholesterol are not the same thing, and their effects on the
Correct.
body, in the body, are not the same thing. So those two things have nothing whatsoever to do with each other.
Yeah, they're just following a rule that if you're making it, you shouldn't have more from the outside. That rule is not for every, ingredient in the world. No,
That's right.
your body makes cholesterol and can have it externally without any effect.
Yes. I see. Scanning for questions. Yes, time is relative. Time is an illusion. Lunchtime, doubly so. See, there you go. That's from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Canned sardines and water are just junk food. I don't agree, necessarily. Is pasteurised milk still good for development? Of what? How much worse is it compared to raw milk? That's begging the question fallacy. We don't know that it is. Should I drink milk on occasion even if it isn't raw? Doesn't make any sense, the question, sorry. Because the question is based in begging the question fallacies left, right and centre. Okay? I'm trying to teach you people how to think, by the way. I'm not just being flippant for the sake of it. I'm not just an ornery old see you next Tuesday. Well, I am. But that's for another day. I'm trying to train you to think how to be logical in the construction of your communications. How would I get a single consult? Just sign into the high tier for 1 month? That's one way. Or the other way is to purchase one through PayPal. My PayPal address is the same as my email address. My PayPal username is the same as my email address. It is my email address, that's what I'm saying. $350 for the hour. Or as you say, you can just buy a single consult by signing in for 1 month and then signing back out again. That's cheaper to do it that way, by the way. Is there any benefit to taking creatine on carnivore? There is none established. No. There is no established benefit, really, of creatine in any population to speak of. It's the most researched supplement available anywhere on the planet. Even so, with all of that research that's been done, it's still an equivocality as to whether the stuff is of any value to be taken as an exogenous supplement or whether it's not. Rodney Smith is a new member of the Meat Militia. Go on, then.
Sorry, and it's synthetic.
Yes, synthetic creatine.
Why? Yeah. Welcome, Rodney.
Yes, very good. Question. What should I aim to keep my body temperature at when I'm sick? You shouldn't. Your body manages that itself. You don't need to be thinking about it or doing any input into that whatsoever. How long after going strict carnivore would you typically notice improvements in eczema and seborrheic dermatitis? How long's a piece of string? Your mileage will vary. There's no such value in any kind of average statement whatsoever. Sorry. You just have to do the right things and wait for your body to heal itself and sort itself out, which it will do if you do all 5 health hacks, not 4, not 3, all 5 every fucking day. Right. Ted's my best friend forever. Well, somebody has to be. Don't they? It is claimed that soluble fibre helps eliminate bile, which is toxic and generally reabsorbed at a rate of 95%, thus helping with detoxification. Is it true and a good idea? Neither is true. And it's not a good idea to eat fibre. Absolute nonsense. Do you agree, Nin? Not forgetting the rules on hate speech.
They're saying that bile is toxic.
That's what the claim is. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And it is reabsorbed, which is great.
You'd have to be a special kind of stupid, wouldn't you? to suck that lollipop. Yes, I did. I forgot the other 23 genders. Dear oh dear. Hate speech on my part. Sorry, the other 23 genders. Not to mention the super intelligent shades of the colour sky blue pink and all those attack helicopters out there. I'm sorry to exclude you from society. Yes. Yes. I'm not going to sit here and list spices that are good, bad or indifferent because they're all individual for different people. What is your opinion on H2 or molecular hydrogen? Apologies if you've answered this already. I think it's complete nonsense, really. There's no evidence that I've seen that it's useful in any way, shape or form necessarily. It's another gimmick, I think. It's another thing that people can sell you for no identified gain, really. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong about that. I thought I was wrong once, Nin, but it turns out I'm mistaken about that.
You're mistaken about being mistaken. Can I just say, look,
right.
if it's not found in nature, generally speaking,
Yeah.
I mean, I would just normal, natural, water, spring water. That's all you need. There's no need for hydrogen water and all this, sort of modified stuff.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Then you don't know what you're doing in terms of the dose and, how are you going to work that out? How much is safe?
I don't know. I don't know. There it is. We're at the bottom finally of the chat window, and we've dealt with as many questions as I think we're going to deal with today, frankly. It's been a rollicking 2 hours of rip-snorting entertainment. Thank you, Nin, for being here for the second of those 2 hours. I did appreciate your input and help very much. Just remind us once again where folks can get the fine range of Cerule products.
ndaniel.cerule.com.
There we go.
And it doesn't matter where you are in the world, it will
That's right.
It will set itself to your
right.
IP address. So
Yes.
you can always check whether the flag at the top is your country. And
Good.
and please email me wherever you are, and I'll help you out.
All right. So remind us of your email address.
info@stemcellnutrition.com.au.
Fabulous. There it is. All right. So that only really just leaves one thing left to do, of course, which we always do on the live streams, and that is to sing a lovely little song, which happens to be the national anthem of the independent sovereign nation Pimbatia. And it's a little song that was devised not by us here in Pimbatia. It was actually written by the fine folks who made a very popular comedy TV cartoon series. Anyway, it's a song all about what you should have for breakfast, and it goes a little bit something like this. Steak and eggs and eggs and steak. That's what you should have for your breakfast. Delicious. Eggs and steak and eggs. Just making sure you heard. I think they got it, Ted. Join us next time when someone will be wrong on the interwebs, because that happens quite a bit around here. Hit the button, Ted, would you, for goodness sake. Anytime you're ready.